Chad Johnson sacrificed himself and his bank account so that we could all come together every Sunday to watch great touchdown celebrations. End zones are now filled with limbo lines, bobsled teams, and even boy bands. The NFL changed their strict celebration rules in 2017. I guess they were tired of being called the No Fun League. Despite that, there's still lines that even the NFL won't let you cross today. We take a look at the celebrations that also come with a flag and a fine, the NFL's banned celebrations. Sexual acts. The NFL has millions of young kids that watch their favorite superstars every week. Celebrations showing sexual acts are going to have those kids asking parents questions, or worse, imitating them. NFL players can't be held as role models for young kids. You say, well, even if you're right, the NFL still has a standard to uphold while expletives slip through the live television broadcast every now and then. The NFL is generally a family-friendly TV product, so anything the refs see as a sexually suggestive act is going to earn a 15-yard penalty, and a fine Antonio Brown was hit with just that. In 2016, after he twerked in the end zone, AB was fined $9,115 for his excessive sexiness. Odell Beckham Jr. in 2017 was fined $12,154 for imitating a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. It's not as sexy as twerking, but still against the guidelines. Nonetheless, Randy Moss was no stranger to touchdown celebrations, but none were greater than when he mooned the Green Bay crowd after a touchdown. This disgusting act, to quote Joe Buck, netted Moss a $10,000 fine and a penalty. Any style of hip gyrations is going to force the NFL's hand, which is basically an ode to the funny key and peel skit. Even that was made into a touchdown celebration by the Saints' Lance Moore, and yes, Moore was fined for his third pump. Violent imagery. The NFL loves when superstars get into the end zone and do viral dances. We can't get enough of the outrageous and funny celebrations like Amari Cooper making fun of Markelle Fultz free throw form for the Vikings playing a full game of duck, goose. The best touchdown celebrations are creative and give us an image we will always remember. I mean, nobody will forget Tyler Lockett reenacting the Allen Iverson step over. But what the NFL will not condone is violent taunts and offensive imagery. The most prominent instances that your favorite superstars get in trouble for are throat slashes and bow and arrow taunts. Michael Crabtree's Undertaker impression netted him a penalty and a hefty fine. Josh Norman pulled back the string of an imaginary bow and arrow and was slapped with a $10,000 fine. He wasn't expecting Brandon Cooks, who was nicknamed the Archer, has said that despite the NFL's rule, he will continue to do his bow and arrow celebration. Anything that simulates firing a weapon or committing violent acts will end in punishment. Former Bills wide receiver Stevie Johnson was fined $10,000 in 2011 for reenacting Plexico Burress shooting himself in a leg. This league wants to make sure they are not promoting any form of violence. Another violent act that isn't gonna fly in the NFL is stomping or destroying team logos. But don't worry, we think you're good using props other than the ball. The last celebration that is absolutely banned is using props other than the football in the end zone. It's unfortunate some of the all-time greatest celebrations come from the use of props. Chad Johnson putting the football with a pylon earned him a $5,000 fine in 2005. This was the same year he faked proposed to a Bengals cheerleader after a touchdown. Then in 2009, after changing his name to Chad Ochocinco, he put on a serape and a sombrero after scoring and paraded down the sideline. This celebration cost him $30,000. When asked about the fine, Ochocinco stated that he had set aside $100,000 to pay for finesse. That's Season saying, they keep jacking them up, I'll keep jacking up the celebrations. Tyreek Hill did his best Chad Ochocinco impression when he took over cameraman duties from CBS after his touchdown a couple years ago. One of the most iconic celebrations ever was Saints receiver Joe Horn reaching under the field goal post pad to find a cell phone, flipping it open, and making a call. Michael Thomas paid homage to Horn by recreating the celebration in 2018, and both received a $30,000 fine for their actions. T.O. made a celebration career out of using props, all of which are now banned. Eating a bag of popcorn from a fan, grabbing pom-poms from a cheerleader to show he can even cheer for himself sometimes, and one of the greatest celebrations ever. Tao pulled a Sharpie from his sock to autograph the ball after a touchdown. Antonio Brown being a main topic of conversation around the league. Recently, many have forgotten about AB being fined for nearly 6 figures. Back in 2016, dude was touchdown celebration just a few months after a huge fine for twerking in the end zone. Brown was found yet again for a choreographed celebration that he and Le'Veon Bell had planned in case one of them scored during the Thanksgiving night celebration. He was fined $24,000 for Israel on the dance, and Bell was fined $12,000 for his participation. Brown's fine was much larger since he was a repeat offender, and he was fined almost $50,000 earlier in the year. Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger spoke about the dance that a star receiver and running back did, and he said, "He knows we all know. Coach Tomlin brought it up yesterday. That is a huge penalty, and we can't do that. We put our kick coverage team in a bad situation, and we can't have that." And Ab knows that in week 1 of the 2016 season, Antonio Brown caught a touchdown against the Redskins and instantly put his hands on his knees and started twerking. Not only did it shock the fan base in Washington, but it also stunned the ref right there, who instantly threw a flag for unsportsmanlike conduct. Brown was eventually fined $15,000 for his dance in the end. But when he caught up with ESPN to talk about the fine, he said money is nothing to a boss. The NFL released a statement about Antonio Brown's twerking being considered a sexual act when they said, "We're gonna send a tape out in the next week or so to clarify some of these things, but the key is, if it's adjusted, that either mimics a violent act, that's something with a firearm or a bow and arrow, or sexually suggestive acts, those are unsportsmanlike conduct. That's something that the officials will flag." That's direct from the competition committee. That's something that we're going to try to be as consistent as possible in that exact situation. Also led to another fine. For another reason, during the twerking moment, apparently his cleaves were also against league rulers at the time, and he just fined over $9,000 for the blue cleats that he was spotted in that night. But Avi is no stranger to ridiculous fines, and he's been forced to pay up to $50,000 for skipping media days and team practices. But with him being worth over $25 million, he can easily afford any fine that comes his way. At this point, under NFL rules, all of those celebrations are banned. The field goal post is also considered a prop that players are not allowed to touch. Jimmy Graham ruined that in 2013 when he dunked on the goalpost and left it crooked. Antonio Brown just wanted a hug from the goalpost and he was fined for it, $11,000 to be exact. But players can still use the ball as a prop. That prop alone has given us some awesome moments. Rob Gronkowski's spikes are legendary, and the celebration goat Chad Johnson can still breathe life into a ball like he did against the Jaguars. All in all, celebrations are back in a big way, and fans and players alike are rejoicing because of it. So there you have it all, the banned touchdown celebrations in the NFL. Which rules do you think are too harsh? And what's your favorite touchdown celebration of all time? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe and turn on post notifications. As always, you're watching Non-Stop Sports. We'll catch you next time.